Alright, so we're going to begin our second Psychic Warrior character. I'm going to be calling on you all to provide some inspiration. Now, Hark, who went to bed, did already roll for a male character, and so we're going to be carrying that forward. Hypnotic, if you're not in bed yet, would you like to roll a D10 in chat? Exclamation point 1D10 to give us our race. Yes, Rianne. This randomizer is the second iteration of the one that I started this stream with almost 2 years ago. It's just evolved since then. The content and format, I should say. Jeremy over at D&D Time, aka Trustaflumph, made it look very pretty. Alright, Hypnotic might have gone. Kevin, will you roll for our race? Exclamation point 1D10, please. And let's find out which race we're going to be having. We already know we have a male character. Nine. We have a Tiefling. We have a male Tiefling. Alright. Rianne, will you please type exclamation point 1D6 in chat? If we get an odd number, our Tiefling favors his human descent, and even his infernal side. Evens. Alright, so we have a Tiefling who favors his more infernal heritage. Male Tiefling. We're going to put favors fiend. Alright. Next up, Awaz. Will you please type exclamation point 1D100 to give us the alignment of our character? '82, we have a neutral evil character. Neutral evil. By the way, we are medium-sized as a Tiefling, and we already know that we're making a fighter Psychic Warrior at level 18. You're gonna go to bed? Yeah, Arugula. You certainly can. We already know that we're gonna be level 18. Now, let's determine how many, if any, ability score improvements will replace. Arugula Salad, will you please type exclamation point 1D100 to determine if we're going to take any feats or if we're going to go all ability scores. Stops on a 51. We're all stat bumps. All stat bumps. Okay. Next up, let's determine, and by the way, Arugula Salad, thanks for hanging out tonight. And a wonderful name as always. Get a nice, like, balsamic. It's good stuff. Alright, our background. Let's see, who is someone that hasn't rolled yet, that's still hanging out? Palladion, Palladion, are you still here? Maybe not. This time of night, there's a lot of lurkers, and that's absolutely fine. All right. Well, unless anyone else speaks up in chat, so I can see that there's people who want to participate. Let's go through and ask folks again. So can I get Rianne? Oh, Syart, you want to roll? Okay. Syart, can you please roll 1d20? Exclamation point 1d20 in chat to help us determine our background. Stops on an 18. He's an Urchin. You know, our other tiefling, our other evil tiefling was an Urchin as well. An Urchin. All right. We know our class and we know our subclass, so we don't need to worry about that. Though fighters do get a class feature of their fighting style. Demon Quiller, will you please... I'll tell you what, Demon Quiller. Can you please give me an exclamation point 4d6? The first d6 will be the fighting style. The last 3 will be the ideal, bond, and flaw for our character. That way we're not wasting dice. Three, 3, 4, 1. So fighting style 3, ideal 3, bond 4, flaw 1. Ooh, pardon me. And fighting style 3 for fighters is another dueling. My goodness. All the duelists. Okay, Rianne, will you please type exclamation point 1D100 to help us determine how old our character is? And while you do that, I'm going to find Tiefling in our drag down menu. There we go. Stops on a 66. So we have a middle-aged Tiefling. That is going to be 47 plus 1d 21 years. Let's roll it. 21-sided die plus 47. All right, we have he is 68 years old. All right, and we have a base height of 4'9". I'm gonna roll 2d8 because I should actually just put in a command. I'll do that during my, I guess, my reset. But we're gonna add 11 inches, so he is 4'20". My goodness. Oops, wrong sheet. See, 4 feet 20 inches. That's totally what I meant. Whoops, wrong, the one below it. Now we're gonna take this same 11, we're gonna multiply it by the weight modifier of 4. We're adding 44 pounds to a base weight of 110, so he's 154 pounds. Whoops. At 5'8". Excellent. Kevin, can you please give me a 1d8 roll for a personality trait for him? Because we just need that and one more personality trait, and then we have all we need to continue forward building this character. All right, so you had a personality trait 3. And then let's call on... Awaz, can you give me another D8 roll for a second personality trait? And 7. 3 and 7 are our personality traits. Excellent. All right, everyone, you know what to do. Time to open up your player's handbooks. Yeah. I mean, if you got them. Otherwise, there are SRDs or system resource documents that you can access for free that has a lot of this information. If you go to D&D Beyond, you can find a lot of it for free as well. Now, Urchin is the last background in this chapter, and it is the beginning of our character, because this is going to be that moment in life that is going to mold him into, the heck? Is this just my chair pad, or... I'm not rolling over a chip or anything. You always got to watch out, right? You hear something crack underneath your chair. The chair pad is kind of old, though. All right, anyway. No, not a cat. Just my chair. Has a busted arm on this side. Rolling over an old chair pad that's getting a little crinkly. Thanks for your work. You must go to sleep later. Hey, there you go. Thank you for that, Demon Quiller. So for all of you out there who want to follow along, but maybe you don't have the books yet, that's a place to go and do so. Demon, thanks for stopping by and finding us. And I hope that you really enjoyed our system and who we are and what we do. And hopefully we'll see you back for another workshop. All right, as an Urchin, we get proficiency in sleight of hand and stealth. We're going to get proficiency with a disguise kit. Pardon me. And thieves' tools. We're going to get a small knife, which could just be a little pocket knife. Maybe your DM says, yeah, like 1 point of damage. Maybe it's just really a letter opener. Maybe it's actually just a dagger, a nice D4 dagger. It may have special something, sentiment to you. But, you know, you can write down something like a small knife. Talk to your DM about it. City map. A pet mouse. Now, does it have to be a mouse? Not necessarily. And you know what? As we find out more about the character, maybe a certain pet type would just spring out at you. You know, someone who keeps a small animal. He doesn't have to, but there's a prompt that he could. It could be a mouse, a rat, could be a snake, could be a cat. Some sort of tiny beast. But he'll have a pet of some kind. And a token to remember your parents by. Is he actually an orphan? Was he also kicked out? What if everyone, what if he ends up being the rival? The rival to Merizi Korstrima. Which, by the way, that was like the best put together from the name suggestions from earlier. Right? He has a similar set of powers. He also is coming from a past that doesn't have access, perhaps, to family life, happy memories. He could have faced abuse or neglect. He could be an orphan. Or, honestly, he could have just had scumbag parents that beat on him and he ran away. Might have helped him grow up to be resentful. You know, this neutral evil, I'm selfish, I look out for myself above others, and then maybe I'll consider other people if they're important enough to me. Neutral evil doesn't mean you have to murder people, by the way, everyone. Just because you're evil doesn't mean you're a murderer. You don't have to, you're not compelled to. It just simply means that you are more selfish in your plots, in how you approach people and use people. A nice filleting knife, says Awaz. He's Willard, talks to rats. I don't know which character that's a reference, or like, I don't know the reference. Now, in this case, the token that we have from parents or someone else could be, it's going to be trinket number something. Rianne, can you please give me a percentile roll, exclamation point 1D100, and help us determine what kind of a trinket was left to our urchin? Oh, yeah, I'm not familiar. Thank you for clarifying, though. All right, trinket number 23. Again, I don't know which trinket that is, but we'll find out, and we'll see if the story writes itself In which case, we could just do capital M, lowercase I-W-I. It writes itself. We'll see if that's the case. Our background feature is City Secrets. We can get through cities much more efficiently and help those who are following us through cities as well. It's, you know, how Outlanders and Rangers have, like, outdoorsy survival. This is an urban survival. Again, though, you can read the features here or in an SRD that has that info. All right, let's meet our character. His personality. What is his personality like? His first trait is number 3. I like to squeeze into small places where no one else can get to me. And his second personality trait is 7. I don't like to bathe. It could be superstition. Could just be a lifestyle choice. It could be, you know what, we grew up on the streets. We're going to take the streets with us. You know, we're not trying to impress anyone. We have our own plots, our own devices. We're surviving ourselves. We don't need other people. However, this is going to help us determine the skills he takes, his ability scores, and things along those lines, as well as it continues to tell his story. What has happened to this person that he lives in such a way? Hey, X-Cat, good morning to you. Well, no, good evening to you. As it's, what, almost 7 p.m. for you? 6 or 7 p.m. Oh, geez. 9:41. Oh, you all don't do daylight savings, right? So it's almost 10. He might be afraid of water. That's true. Well, you do have daylight savings, and so how are we getting such a large discrepancy? Huh. Well, all the same, good evening to you. Oh, goodness. All right, what is his ideal? What's his hope for the world? What's a goal or an aspiration that he has? Number 3, change. The low are lifted up, and the high and mighty are brought down. Change is the nature of things. He might cause change. He might ride the tides of change. And you might very well say, well, look, this says this is a chaotic ideal, and he is neutral evil. Come on, Matty Morgs. What's up with this? This can only belong on a chaotic character, to which I say, nay, nay. That's not the case. You can have an ideal that doesn't match your alignment. Your alignment is how you express yourself. It's what happens after the brain-to-mouth filter, or the brain-to-hand filter. You know, he looks out for himself in all his things. That does not mean that he doesn't have an ideal that he hopes to stride towards, where he does want to cause upheaval. In fact, his neutrality might even remain the same, because he just rides, you know, as change happens. He's not seeking to earn a permanent position in an upper or under class. He's simply along for the ride no matter what happens, and he's comfortable. Again, he doesn't need to impress anyone. He's there. He's causing change. You know, he sees this world in a way that he wants it to be, which, similar to our girl that we made prior, could be how he manifests his power. These psychic powers are this ideal to change. To change our future because we're hitting harder, or we're being hit less hard. That we're healing ourselves, that we're changing reality because now we're going to make that strength save. Now we're going to make, or what was the other thing that we got? Cover. we're not going to get hit by attacks. We're not going to be seen. We are changing the world with our mind, which is perfectly fine. Viva Revolucion. XCat says, I designed my backup character earlier, a Bear Totem Barbarian Warforged with proficiency to AC removed for balance. Now I'm sketching out a pose for a full piece. Well, alright, so which version of Warforged are you using, like the official Eberron? Because I think that Warforged doesn't need any sort of rebalancing, XCat. Yeah, there you go, Awaz. Tetsuo! Kaneda! His bond to the world is number 4. I owe a debt I can never repay to the person who took pity on me. And maybe that seed of guilt inside of us is what's driving us to be selfish. Okay, then that's probably not the official release one, XCat. But if you need some information regarding that, let me know. I owe a debt I can never repay to the person who took pity on me. So the one person who didn't see us as a wretched gutter snipe. Maybe we can never repay because that person is gone. What if the debt that's owed is whatever this trinket is that we rolled? Or it could be the person who awakened our mind. And of course, we soured that gift, and we feel guilty, and perhaps beyond redemption. And so we just continue to do selfish, evil things. Oh, gotcha, XCat. Alright, well, if you need help, just ask. Or maybe it's a manic squirrel tiefling, or telling him to do stuff. Oh, that the pet could be, yeah, could be an influencer. His mind, you know, in his desperate attempt to make connections, he might actually have, you know, he might impose sentience onto his pet, or on, you know, it would almost be a kind of, and you know, I want to make sure I'm talking about this, in a respectful manner, but he might even have a kind of schizophrenia. Gotcha, XCat. Send a message to me about that, please. Yep, there you go, Awaz. And what is his flaw? His flaw is number 1. If I'm outnumbered, I will run away from a fight. He's selfish. He's gonna take care of number 1 first. That's his number 1 flaw. See, we have a compelling character who lives in a compelling world. There are people he cares about, even though he's not necessarily a caring person. We can understand how he makes decisions, and this is why I love this process. All right, now we're going to figure out who he is as a tiefling. Oh, cool. All right, XCat. I'll look forward to checking that out. Our intelligence score increases by 1, and our charisma score increases by 2. We have a move speed of 30 feet, 15 climb, 15 swim, 0 fly. We have 60 feet of dark vision. We are resistant to fire damage. So over here on IRV, I'm going to fill in the resistant dot on fire. We are also going to have an Infernal Legacy, which is going to teach us some magic. And this is going to give us Thaumaturgy, which is off of Charisma. And we're going to carry this forward to the spell page. And Infernal Legacy is also going to give us Hellish Rebuke, upcast at level 2. Once per long rest off of Charisma. And Infernal Legacy is also going to teach us the Darkness spell. Once per long rest off of Charisma. Languages we can speak, read, and write, Common and Infernal. Have a wizard cast Enlarge if you want it to get really silly. That's a side note. If you want a character who can lift, take a race with powerful build. Oh, yeah, yeah. So there we go. That's Tiefling. You see why I don't like starting with this? I mean, Tiefling can be a part of this. You know, we favor our diabolical side more. And that could even be a part of the whispers we hear. That fight inside us between our humanity and our fiendishness. You know, we are of this mixed blood. And the whispers could be that of a devil. Maybe it's our pet is an imp that we don't control that's just changed shape. Could even be messing with us. Could even be watching over us to try and keep us safe. What if the scandal that prevented her from ever going home could be our human parents for our human heiress had a dalliance with a devil at some point and produced a tiefling? Now, this doesn't have to be a brother per se. It'd be a very large age difference. But what if the human family had a thing for devils? He, as an urchin, would be outcast. I mean, you're not going to get that past people. And so the mother had to be sent away for a secret birth or whatever. You know, it was given up for adoption. Maybe that trinket was left behind by the noble humans. But, you know, he grew up in an orphanage. You know, it couldn't have been the best one because that might create a paperwork. That might have people looking into things. This little devil on his shoulder, dressed up as a squirrel or whatever, might actually be that infernal voice. Because that's all he's known, is his infernal side. Not his human upbringing. Do you see the wonderful connections we can make? We don't even have to try that hard. They just happen. It's here and it's meaningful. And now we've bonded two characters together. And if the players didn't want to be bonded like that, then don't. But here's a cool bond. Now we're going to make 18 levels of fighter. This is going to be a proficiency bonus of +6. This is also going to be D10 hit points, and at level 18 we get 18 of them, which is our natural restorative powers between or during rests. And we're going to get armor proficiency of all armors and shields. We're going to know all simple and martial weapons. No tool proficiencies, and strength and con are going to be our saving throw proficiencies. Now, I'm going to be a little bit of a cheaty face. When we're going to get to it in a second, and I'm just going to copy. I'm just going to do it right now. This is what we get for being this level of a fighter. Because we're the same dueling. We still get second wind, action surge, extra attack, and we're indomitable, which helps us pass saves. A fighter is a fighter in this regard. The archetype is going to make us, and we can do the same with archetype, but these are all very standard issue. You can find this anywhere online. You know, what do these mean? You know, please read through it, because I'm not going to get into the details of it, but as a fighter, we have natural recovery. We can act a couple times on a round for a couple times itself. We get some extra attacks, and we're better at making saves. We do get to choose 2 skills, as he does have a pet. I think animal handling would be very interesting for him to have. even if the pet might be supernatural. He's also seen the change that has happened, and he knows, you know, the families that are rich. He knows the neighborhoods that are poor. He remembers this past debt. I would say history. He knows history, even if he's not a part of it, if he's been excised from it. That might be the focus of his ire, because he sees how much happens without him, and which is why he introjects, because he wants to be a part of history. Meanwhile, if it ever came out that he's a princeling, even in his advanced age, or even in some way if he were to actually be able to inherit a title and become a part of that system, in the greatest of ironies, he already knows the noble houses, their colors, and their coats of arms. He knows wars. He knows economic upheaval. What's caused it. What remedies it. This is a compelling character that doesn't have to be a lol random murder hobo just because we have a neutral evil alignment. Hey, James. He knows if you've been bad or good. So be good, for goodness sake. Also, Game Ooze is hosting. Thank you, Game Ooze. Why isn't my notifications coming up? That is really weird. Is my screen somehow? No, my alert box should be on. You know, Slobs had an update before I went live, so I wonder if something's going on with that. Oh yeah, the evil Santa in Futurama. Kevin says he knows it, but is exiled. And Black Wolf is here. Hey, Black Wolf. All right, so now that we have our fighter, again, let's look at the Psychic Warrior, which is also why, if this is somehow a relation, a cousin, or something like that, it might be hereditary that their minds, in such turmoil, actually produce manifestations. Awakening to the psionic power within themselves, a psychic warrior is a fighter who augments their physical might with physically infused weapon strikes, telekinetic lashes, and barriers of mental force. As a psychic warrior, you might have honed your psionic abilities through your own disciplined practice, unlocked it under the tutelage of a master, or developed it at an academy dedicated to wielding the mind's power as both a weapon and a shield. He was sent to the Umbrella Academy. Psionic armament. And what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to copy and paste this. However, we can come back and we'll fix hers up because she has an int modifier of 5 times long rest and 5 times long rest. There we go. So this will just let me review what this is, and I don't have to worry about typing. Augmented defenses. When you or a creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to roll a d10 and reduce the amount of damage taken by the number rolled. When you reach 10th level of this class, the die changes to a d12. Or we could get augmented strikes. Once during each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can also deal 1d4 psychic damage to that target. When you reach 10th level in this class, the psychic damage increases to 1d6. We are also getting a telekinetic hand. You learn the Mage Hand cantrip. You can cast it without components, and you can make the spectral hand invisible. Intelligence is your spellcasting ability for this. Which, given our sleight of hand, it's not quite Arcane Trickster level, but maybe you'd have a DM who'd let you get away with a little bit more than normal with a normal Mage Hand. So we're going to add that to our character sheet. We have Thaumaturgy and Mage Hand. Strength of Mind. As a bonus action, you can telekinetically lash out at a creature you can see within 20 feet of you. The target must make a strength saving throw against a DC equal to 8 plus proficiency plus int. On a failed save, the target takes force damage equal to 2d6 plus your intelligence modifier and is telekinetically moved 15 feet directly toward or away from you, your choice. On a successful save, it takes half as much damage and isn't moved. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Now, something to bring up and something to consider. This does not say magically. It does say telekinetically. There is a spell called telekinesis. However, we're not seeing the words magic or spell. And are any of you out there catching on to what this could mean? Do any of you want to posit a guess? If we don't see those words, what does that mean for our psychics? We also have a telekinetic bulwark. When you take the attack action, you can forego one of your attacks to project a bastion of psionic power in a 10-foot radius around yourself. It lasts for 1 minute or until you're incapacitated. For the duration, you and your allies in that area gain the benefits of half cover and have advantage on strength saving throws. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest or until you use your second wind. Well, I mean, being setting agnostic, XCat, because we can't really consider the weave when we're talking about content like this. What this could mean is that will your psychic powers work in an anti-magic zone? Can they be counterspelled? Will they cause a reaction in a wild magic area? Will all of your attacks be able to sneak through guards who are scanning everyone for magic items or spells? It does not say that these are spells, nor that this is magic. And if that's the case, again, what is that going to mean for your world? Does it work for mind flayers? Does what work in particular, Awaz? Next up, we get Agonizing Strikes. Your attacks can channel psychic agony. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can also deal 2d10 psychic damage to that target and force it to make a Constitution saving throw. Unless the save succeeds, the target falls prone and it suffers disadvantage on ability checks until the end of your next turn. Now, not saves. Now, being prone is, I mean, that'll offer advantage for people to hit. So it's powerful, but not too powerful. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier minimum once, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Well, again, Awaz, this isn't saying that these are magical effects, nor are they spells. And if that's the case, that is a conversation to have with your dungeon master if psionics would work in an anti-magic area. And lastly, we can become a psychic dreadnought. The power of your mind suffuses your entire being, making you a nigh unstoppable force on the battlefield. Using your reaction when you take damage, you can give yourself the following benefits for 1 minute, or until you're incapacitated. At the start of each of your turns, you regain 10 hit points. Your walking speed increases by 10 feet, and if you're prone, you can stand up by spending only 5 feet of movement. Once you activate this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. If there are, but you know, by default in the player's handbook, there's nothing that accounts for psionics in particular, which is also why, you know, creatures like mind flayers tend to be deadly, because they're spells, but they're not really spells, but they are, but they're not. They're these weird in-betweens. Now that we have our character, we have the chassis of our character, it's time to drop the engine into him here. For someone who has lived on the streets, for someone who's had to get by in an urban environment, I think he is going to be very physical. I mean, he might have a high charisma, but he doesn't really work with people. In fact, you know what? I think his charisma is going to be an 8. I think we're going to see a 15, a 14, even a high constitution, 13, 12, 10, and 8. Yeah, well, you know, and even in 4th edition, monks were, like, key stuff were considered psionics, because it's an extension of yourself, right? It's your will that's manifested through your body, if not your mind. Now, this is going to put our intelligence to a 13, and this is going to put our charisma to a 10. Now, we are going to get 4, 8, 12, 16, also 6 and 12. Fighters get extra ASIs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're going to spend one on Constitution. We're going to spend one on Intelligence. Let's spend 3 on Dexterity. Let's spend 4 on Strength. That leaves us with 3 left. This is very respectable. And don't forget, we're going to get one more ASI. We're going to get one more ASI at level 19. Meaning that if we favor one or the other, we can use it. But still, hitting at a 10 instead of an 11, it's a 5% difference. Not that huge. The question comes down to, do we want to make it harder for them to save against our effects? We do have this very strong will. And so I would wager that we will put our intelligence to 16, and we'd leave our level 19 stat bump to top off whichever one of these that we want to more focus in. And that that leaves us with 1. So in this case, if you ever have a 1, put it in Strength. Maybe we just drop the other 2 in Dexterity. Because you can either take a feat and bump something up another 1, or again, you're getting a mechanical benefit from a higher Strength score because of your carrying capacity, as opposed to anything else. So, Strength 4, Dex 4, Con 2, Int 3, Wisdom 0, Charisma 0. We are above average. Saving throw of 10, Athletics of 4. Dex is 4, Acrobatics 4, with a 10 Sleight of Hand and a 10 Stealth. We have an 8 Constitution saving throw. 3 down the line for Int, and 9 to History. 0 to everything except Animal Handling, which is 6, and Charisma is just 0 down the line. That's going to give us a passive perception of 10. Armor class, who knows? We're level 18, and we haven't equipped them. Initiative is a +4 because it's a dex check. Hit points. We get 10 hit points at level 1, and then we're going to get, for our remaining 17 of our 18 levels, half +1 of our hit die. Then for all of our levels, all 18 of them, we're going to get bonus hit points equal to our constitution bonus. This is going to be the big difference now. Merizi has a 0 con bonus, had 112. So really what this is telling us is this is going to be 112 plus 36. He has 148 hit points and also can wear heavy armor because he has the strength for it, whereas she does not. If he's attacking with strength or dex, both are going to be at a +10 to hit. Unless it's magical, you know, that particular one would get a little bonus. We have no spell slots. Now to save against our intelligence effects, this is where Merizi imposes her will better. She capped out her intelligence. Her intelligence is what she has. She's a little girl. Here we have a middle-aged, wizened man. You know, he's kept his old man strength. He continues to live on the rooftops to climb and do some parkour. So for his psionics, it's proficiency, +8 is 14, plus intelligence, so it's 17. He didn't get the education that she did. She's the purebred daughter of the royal family that went into exile. Maybe because someone did find out that there was a dalliance with the devil in their bloodline. He got some education, a very specific education. Knows how to ride horses, apparently, or, you know, befriend rats, and knows his history, knows his houses, his colors, and his banners. And, you know, generally picked up other things, too, because he had a knack for it. Probably ran into Grandma Gymnast up there, too. An old crazy Clint Eastwood, says Awaz. Black Kevin, do you like that, as you've been around now for a lot of these, are you imagining other characters we've generated and how they might interact? Like, have our characters left that impression on you where you get an idea like, oh, wow, if this person met this person, what would that, how would that work? What would that be like? But you know what, everybody? We have our other character. Ta-da! He's earned a name. He's earned a name. And so if you have a name for him, it could be his actual name, could be like a street name, whatever. Hey, Mr. Wolfie, good morning to you. Whatever you'd like it to be. But what an awesome character. And I love imagining their circumstances and how they're sprouting out these abilities. How they're making them work. Now, in review, like bit by bit, I don't think any of these are especially, I don't know, nothing seemed too onerous. They are kind of touching on other things like a quasi-paladin, quasi-arcane trickster. I mean, the epic is epic because it's epic. That's fine. You know, this is per long rest, which means that most of your encounters are you're going to get to use this. I mean, because again, this is like Paladin Smite, the Agonizing Strikes, the Telekinetic Bulwark is also kind of edging into Paladin territory with the aura. I don't know. Nothing is really standing out like, oh, this is 100. Could they use tweaks? I'm sure. Nothing is mechanically or mathematically coming to mind. But if you were to play this, I don't think I'd have to make unreasonable accommodations to include this playtest material into games that I run or that I'm familiar with. However, you have to recall that conversation. Do psionics count as magic in the world? That is the question to ask. Guardman Boogeyman and Crazy Eastwood. His nickname is Uncle. Vargath Malvros. What inspired that name, Kevin? And you know what? I like the nickname is familial. Maybe a lot of people call him Uncle. And Awaz, maybe in a way, he is an uncle to Merizy. Yes, Mr. Wolfie. They are saved on our Discord. Just at random? Well, it's I'm not opposed to random names, but instead of using a random name generator, I almost bit my tongue there. If something inspires you, and Kevin, here's a fun trick, okay? If you want to come up with fantasy names, there are plenty of generators, and there's no shame in using them. But I don't know, you want something that is I don't know, more fantasy-ish sounding or cooler or custom. What if we did something like let's do this. Or at least as a possibility here. We'll do Nivek Aklab. Now, I want you to tell me where either or both of these names came from, Black Kevin. Nivek. Oh, this is, sorry, I'm misspelling. Okay, you use Nivek a lot. All right, so you see what I'm going for, right? So, I don't know, something like that. Also, look at stuff that's around you, right? So here's a pen from a place called Castaway Bay. TC Reigns, thank you very much. So from this, you know, here we have Castaway Bay. You could simply reverse it, and we have a character named Yabya Atsak. Maybe we have a character named Asta Abe. Asta Abe. If we take a look around and we have a Logitech camera, this is we have a character named Ghosh. Just Ghosh. You could mix it. You can mix and match. You don't even need last names or middle names. We could just go Ghosh. Or we could go Logitech also spells Gothitelle, if any of you are Pokemon fans. Right? Use the world around you. Use, you know, use what you see. Mix it up. Diet Coke. Ietko is my name. And sailing is my game. I've been sailing for quite a long while. Old Ietko, I've seen many a horizon, many a sunset, and many a moonrise. Ietko. And you just get that from Diet Coke. And who's to say Ietko is not a cool-sounding fantasy name? La Vista? Hasta la Vista? Gauche in Cray? Now, where did that one come from? I can't fathom a guess at this moment. Where did that come from, Black Wolf? See if we all can solve the scramble. Orpec Affairs. Orpec is a cool name. I like Orpec. Let's go Orpec. And then we'll combine Niv Inc. Nivincre. Orpec Uncle Nivincre. It's a pleasure to meet you. Now, are you a part of the system? Are you part of the solution? Uncle doesn't have time for a dilly-dally. Orpec Nivincre. Yes, call me Uncle. If we want to incorporate the Asta or the La Vista, we could do La Nevincre. Orpec La Nevincre. Or the A for the Asta and the La Vista. Orpec Uncle La Nevincra. You stick with me, kid. I'll see you through this in the city. Yeah? Now follow me. I hope you don't mind getting your hands dirty. I did when I was a child, and they still are. You see, I don't like to bathe. You'll see how it is. This is my lucky stench. Excellent. And lastly, but not leastly, boop. Let's check out. What was his inheritance? What is this token? Given to him by a mentor, a family member, perhaps even a parent, long lost or hidden? The trinket was number 23. And what has he been carrying all these years? Is this what he got from someone who he could not repay the debt to? Could even be an infernal source. Let's see, 23. A brass orb etched with strange runes. A brass orb etched with strange runes. The source of his power? Or at least the catalyst that awakened it? Is there someone who has been going around giving urchins and entertainers favors? Because they have the gift. Is this an infernal heritage? A brass orb from the brass city itself? Is this why he favors and pursues his devilish side more often? It calls to him? Maybe that's what's a part of his madness. But he can't let it go because it's too important. This orb fuels his imagination, and his imagination is where everything happens. All the fun psychic stuff. And there we go. Ta-da!